Running a trades business isn't just about what you build, it's about what you learn, and sometimes the hard way. It's the kind of knowledge you pick up over time and wish someone had handed you soon. Welcome to Trade Secrets, powered by Metabo HPT, a podcast series where trusted, successful tradespeople and qualified experts will share best practices, strategies, ideas, even tricks and hacks that you need to know. Think of it as another reliable tool from Metabo HPT, just not one you keep in your truck, but one that helps you run your business better. Hey everyone, welcome to Trade Secrets, powered by Metabo HPT, where we talk with everyone from seasoned trade pros to behind-the-scenes experts about the stuff that no one formally teaches you, but absolutely should. The real-world strategies that help you grow and run a successful trades business. Now, today we're digging into something that is just as critical as the projects that you build and the teams that you hire to build them, or even the tools that you trust, and that's your back office. Because let's be honest, your back office is your company's foundation. And if you don't take the time to build it right, your whole business can really just start to crack. And let's face it, a lot of trades companies overlook this side of the business, sometimes because they're slammed, sometimes because they just don't know where to start, and sometimes because they think maybe it's just not as important as doing the work itself. But we're going to bring all that into focus and help you elevate your back office game by giving you some real usable hacks that you can put to work right away. And to help with that, I have the perfect guest, and that's Cannata, the founder of Right Hand Admin. Crystal, great to have you on the show. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, John. Thanks for having me.
So, Crystal, before we get into these hacks that you have for us, I'd love for you to tell us a little bit about yourself and your company.
Yeah, so I've been doing operations management for over 18 years. I've done it for pretty big companies, mostly in the trades. And when I was about 6 months pregnant, I said I lost my job, and I knew that I didn't want to go into an office building with my big old belly and find office work is the truth. So I started trying to figure out how I was going to work from home, which led me to founding the Right Hand Admin. And in the beginning, it was really about just doing any admin work. And I really quickly realized that a lot of companies who weren't at a place to hire a director of operations needed somebody in that role. So I founded the Right Hand Admin. And the short version of what we do is we really step into these contractors, trades, home service type businesses as the director of operations that they need. We streamline their processes. We set up task managers, process manuals. We really teach them how to lean everything up and then delegate it so that they can get the help that they need.
And why did you choose to focus on the trades?
So funny story, in the beginning, we were just doing everything. So one of our first clients happened to be in the trades and actually hired us from a hospital bed. So he literally had run this business for 25 years and it was just consuming him. Like he was doing all the things in the field all day, coming home to try to do invoices at night with his wife. And it quite literally put him in the hospital. And so he just sent me an email and he's like, I don't know how you can help me, but here's my email password. Please, get me out of this. And I just realized how powerful it is when we do this work for people in the trades. We're really changing lives. We're really helping them create that work-life balance that I think they started their business because they wanted.
Yeah, it's a great point. And it's interesting too, because so many people are not in the office. And then they have to come back to an office, whether it's their kitchen table or an office. And you're like, wow, my whole day has to start again. Right? So now in my introduction, I mentioned that a lot of the trades companies out there, they overlook this side of the business. And I gave some reasons why I think, that might be the case. But look, you're 1,000 times closer to this topic than I am. So I'd love to hear why the back office doesn't get the attention that it should. Maybe even touch on why the folks out there need to prioritize this part of the business.
I think when a lot of these guys are starting their business, they are doing it because they have a certain skill. Maybe they're a painter, an electrician, HVAC, it doesn't matter, new home builder. They have this skill, and that skill is what's going to immediately make them money, right? So that's where they need to start. They're going to go out there and they're going to figure out the back office side. It doesn't matter if it looks messy. It doesn't matter if it takes them 12 hours a day. They're doing their business, they're making money, and it's great. And I think that it gets them to a certain point doing it that way, and it feels successful to a certain point. But if they don't start to prioritize that back office, it's going to cost them in the long run, and it costs them in money because they're wasting money. It's going to cost them in time, and it's going to cost them ultimately in that freedom that they thought they were going to have when they started their business.
Yeah, no doubt. So let's talk some hacks and some strategies that the folks out there who are running their own trades companies could easily execute. What's the first one that you want to tell us?
Yeah, I think we should talk about hiring. Like, how do you actually get the help?
All right.
And I think we need to really kind of squash the whole idea of looking for a unicorn. Like, just stop trying to find that unicorn hire. And what I mean by that is if you're building a new house, you're not going to assume that your painter is also going to do your flooring, is also going to be your project manager, is also going to be the structural engineer, right? So when you're looking for somebody to help you in your back office, you cannot assume that it's the same skill set of somebody to do your day-to-day admin work and send out your invoices, and also the person who's going to streamline things and make sure that your business is running efficiently and lead your team, right? So definitely we want to look for the skill set that we actually need to make impact in the business instead of looking for an all-in-one.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, and just to kind of build on this, any advice for hiring and finding the right team? I mean, what should they be looking for? Where should they be looking? Things like that.
I love this question because a lot of people will just start with, well, my wife can do it, or my daughter can do it, or my neighbor's best friend's cousin is home from college and
knows how to use QuickBooks.
Yes, they've used a computer once, so they'll be great. But the truth is, you're going to start by figuring out what you actually need. Do you need an ops person? Do you need an HR person? Do you need an admin to just throw stuff out? Like, what do you actually need is where you're going to start. And then you're going to be strategic about finding people with those skill sets. So that can look like pre-employment testing, a really well-designed interview process, application process, where you're not just saying, do you know how to use QuickBooks? Check. Cool. How does that actually impact your business and the day-to-day and taking things off of your plate?
Now, I love a good shameless plug. So they could, they could also find a company like yours to help them out.
Yeah, they could. Absolutely. So, and one of the benefits of hiring an agency is that we have all the different skill sets and like a fractional basis. But if we're talking about other places, they can look as well. Job boards, of course. Facebook groups, like literally there are probably in every neighborhood Facebook groups of work or job openings.
Yep, good point.
And one of the most powerful ways actually that we've seen be effective is to email your past clients. Like, these are people who already love what you're doing. They've loved working with you. And so when you're like, hey, we need help, they're going to want to help you, and they're going to want to give you somebody who's going to come into your company already really passionate about what you do.
That's such a good point. I mean, everybody knows somebody, and why not start with the people? Yeah, that's a great point. What's another hack?
So another one I think we should talk about is bringing to light some of the invisible time and therefore money leaks inside of the business. And I think that these things tend to get overlooked because they don't show up on a P&L report. They don't show up when you're, tracking your job costs. But there are some things inside of the business that really are costing that time and money. And I call them invisible leaks. And those would be things like needing to answer the same question over and over. So, if somebody on your team constantly has the same question and they're interrupting your high level work that you're doing to bring in new business or to lead projects, that ultimately is costing you that time and money each day because you're needing to divert focus to answering the same thing over and over.
Right.
And then the other thing that really stands out is not having templates. If you don't have templates for things, you are just wasting your time, right? If you're starting from a blank page every time you sign a new deal or send out an invoice or need to send a proposal, even answering like frequently asked questions to customers, if you don't have like templated responses, then you're burning, I would say easily, 10, 15 hours a week.
So it is, I love this idea of like plug the leaks, right? Mm-hmm. So you look at it, which is ironic as well. It's a good way to, right? No pun. But the, this idea of identify those things that you are doing over and over and over again that are wasting you time, and obviously in turn wasting money, and identify them first and then find the right way to do it. You're right. Templates. I mean, that's an easy fix, right? Even that, contracts, whatever it might be, but also that I love the frequently asked questions as well. I mean, I'm a big proponent of that. I mean, you get asked the same thing over and over and over again. Document them, know your answer, have it ready.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people, they will hear the word process manual or SOP, and they think that it has to be this big dusty book that sits on a shelf. But ultimately, that's what's going to save you from answering the same thing over and over, is having the answers essentially documented. And so maybe if your first version of an SOP or a process manual is just documenting the questions that you get asked more than once a week, I think you're going to find yourself saving so much time just in that. And
so, but it does come down to, if people want to know how to do this, it is a matter of, does it just kind of come naturally identifying those things? Like you start to look at it and you just have to almost be aware of it, right? And say, well, this is the stuff I'm doing over and over again. And
then, I would say, like, if you want to start doing it in your own business, you just need to be really intentional about saying, okay, this was already asked of me this week. You know, like you might not notice it now, but there are things that your customers are asking you over and over again. The team members are asking you over and over again. There are constant bottlenecks and stops in your revenue generating activities. And so if you just be mindful of it for a week and then document it, you're going to save yourself time long term.
As somebody who helps companies do this, do you identify those things for them? Is that what you help? Is that a part of what you do?
We do.
As you look at it, how do you go about doing it as let's say a contracted company?
Yeah. So initially we do a full business audit. I always suggest starting with a customer journey is what I call it. And so essentially it's like, imagine you are a customer going start to finish in your business, from the first lead contact is made to you're sending the final invoice, and we go step by step by step, and we figure out what needs to happen, what needs to be templated in order for it to happen, what action needs to be taken, what systems need to be in place. And so you can absolutely do that on your own or obviously with some help.
Yeah, that's great. All right, so I think we have time for one more. What do you got?
So I definitely want to talk about tech tools, because I think that a lot of people in the trades, I know it's like a hot topic.
And I know it's one that everybody hears tech and they're like, oh.
It seems scary, especially if, you're sitting there and you have like paper notes all over your truck and a whiteboard in your office and you're like, I don't need tech. But sometimes what happens is when business owners start to feel chaos, they either think I need to hire an admin or they think I need to implement tech. And if they go the route of implementing tech, they will start getting that like shiny object syndrome. So they'll be like, oh, this feature is cool and that feature is cool and this one's the most expensive, so it must be the best,
Yeah.
And they get on a bunch of sales calls with sales reps from these software companies, and they get sold. And what winds up happening is they spend a lot of time and money implementing these softwares that don't actually work for what they need. And if they had just started with almost like a wish list, like these are the problems I need the software to solve, and then went into those sales calls and said, show me how you solve these problems, it would have saved them so much time and effort.
Yeah. What is some, it's funny. These days you could almost use tech to help you identify the tech, right? You could say, I'm going to here are the problems that I have, and put it into, a chat GPT or whatever, and say, what are some solutions for these specific things? And then proactively call those people. Yes. I mean, when is there a lot of, are people using a lot of tech? Is there I know that people use that term tech stack. Is there a lot of tech being used? Is it do people have to be intimidated? Are there 20 different things that they have to worry about?
I think the word tech stack can definitely be intimidating.
Oh my gosh, it's terrible.
And so if we break it down, like a tech stack just means what are the tools, what's the list of tools that you're using in your business? That can just be three things. It can be, your email service and your invoicing platform and your bookkeeping platform. Like that's your tech stack. So it can be as easy as that. There are so many options right now that staying lean and simple is so attainable. There are, every single day there's new platforms built for the trades. Some of them do certain things better than others. So I think like going into it with that wish list is what's going to help you not get overwhelmed by it. It should never feel in your business like you're working for the tech. It should always be the tech is a tool for what you're already doing.
I think a lot of people out there might hear tech, and obviously what you're saying is great advice. One of the concerns might be, I now have to learn tech. I now have to learn this. I mean, you have any advice for just learning it? Is it a matter of like, look, just sit down, spend some time with it? I mean, it could be just so intimidating.
It is intimidating. I would definitely, if you are a person who feels really intimidated by the tech, then one of your wish list items when you're going into these sales calls should be that they have some kind of onboarding support, some kind of support for you, training videos. And then the truth is, you might just have to take a weekend and really learn the ins and outs of it. Or you're gonna have to pay somebody to do that, right? So you can pay somebody to go in, learn the software, set you up on the software, absolutely. But if you want to DIY it, then you do. It's one of those things. You're learning a new skill, you're learning a new trade, essentially, and so you're gonna have to just dedicate that time.
All right. So if I'm going to recap here, we have don't look for the unicorn when you're hiring. Plug up the leaks, maybe even find those templates, and look for the right tech to help you out. This has been great. I love these. I'm sure you inspired some of the listeners and viewers out there to adopt them. Before I let you go, though, how can the audience find you? I mean, you have a lot of thought leadership stuff out there. I mean, your company. Give us, do those shameless plugs.
Yeah, so you could go to therighthandadmin.com if you want to just check out our website, see a little bit more of what we're doing. But I'm also very active on social media.
Okay.
I am on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. I love talking about this stuff. I love supporting through content. So that's always a great way.
Yeah, we'll put some of those links in the show notes as well. Thanks for doing this, Crystal. We appreciate it. Hope you'll come back on again and maybe even talk about more hacks, more trade secrets. We appreciate it.
I'd love to. Thanks, Sean.
Hey everyone, feeling the hustle? Need tools that could keep up? Metabo HPT has you covered. From the biggest box stores to the speed and ease of online shopping or the expertise you get at your local tool distributor. Find the power and performance you need exactly where you prefer to shop. So don't wait. Find your Metabo HPT tools today. Quality tools readily available. Metabo HPT. Make, move, go.